83 car. We didn't think
that main straightaway, all the riders jostling for the best positions possible. And there's Robbie Peterson looking for an inside run, but Mike Smith gets the whole shot and leads them into the first turn. And what a great shot that is of Mike Smith. The Georgia Jet, he's cranking out there tonight. And tonight is the optimum word. It might as well be night because it's so dark out there with these dark clouds that have come in and the rain pouring down.
Doesn't seem to be bothering Mike Smith right now, and Mike Smith has led more first laps at more Formula USA events than any other rider. He is definitely on the charge here today at Grattan.
Right, Keith, the Georgia Jet has taken off in this race. I tell you, I want to see Mike Smith do well here.
He's got some competition, though, Michael, winning. Keep in mind, this is a fairly tight track, and it is in the rain. Rich Oliver and Robbie Peterson on the TZ250s have got to be considered. There's Fritz Kling in your picture, number 421. He's a local here. He knows his way around. Keep in mind, we've got Brian Bernard and Peter Kissinger, two guys that have shown that they love the wet and they can go very fast in it.
We'll just watch the field come through the bowl turn here, turn 8, one of the really nice turns here at Grattan Speedway. It's got a little puddle running across it. You can see everybody make it through really clean.
Let's run through the order now where we see Mike Smith leading Kling, Oliver, Hall, Peterson, Kissinger, Miller, Fenwick, Rodden, Misdall, Bernard, Hagen, fishtailing there in the wet.
I can't believe the pace they're putting in on this first lap. Even in the rain, they're pushing very, very hard. If Bernard and Hagen and Misdall riders like that are way down.
Oh, Nick, look at Fritz Kling. Almost came off the bike, had 1 foot on the ground. He must be taking lessons from his racing partner, Jay Springsteen, the dirt bike champ. That was unbelievable. How did he stay up on that bike?
Fritz Kling, I think he got very lucky. He was very sideways, pulled it out, and got it down the straightaway, second behind Mike Smith still. But that must have given Oliver and Peterson and those guys behind Kling a good shot at catching him.
And the rain has begun to come down again. We're going to have a changing picture here at Grattan Speedway. It's not a little rain. It's not a light rain. The drops are as big as your thumb, and it's coming down right now on Mike Smith, and he's probably rethinking his strategy. He's definitely moving slower around those turns. You can see him not leaning it over as much. That knee isn't even close to the ground now.
You could be forgiven for thinking that it's hailing, Keith. Listen to the sound of the rain on the camera.
Oliver is pushing Kling. He's going to use this rain to sneak under Kling. I think he's going to really push the big bike. Kling, of course, on the Yoshimura 1100, not an easy bike to ride in the rain, especially not a downpour like this. Oliver looking on the outside of Kling. Oliver's got that 250 running very well. There's Kissinger right on the tail of Kurt Hall with Robbie Peterson right behind Kissinger. Great racing.
And Mike Smith continuing to lead this terrific race. Well, we're going to see some excitement now with this rain. These conditions are starting to hot up. Oh, Mike Smith, as I speak, almost lost the tail end. This is great stuff.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall on the inside of Mike Smith's helmet right now to hear what he's thinking. I think he's got to be saying easy, smooth, be smooth, but don't be too slow.
Oh, Mike Smith one more time almost loses the back end. There must be something on the track there. Oh, again, another rider slipping and sliding in these conditions.
That was Oliver. Wow, that was a fantastic slide by Rodden.
Let's see that on replay. He's on the throttle up the hill. It gets sideways, and for the grace of God, it comes back, and it keeps going straight. Rodden simply hung on, and there he was. He was still up, not in the ambulance, and a very happy man.
We'll talk about excitement. Plus, there's someone down. It looks like Ryan Bernard is down.
The Kiwi, the one from Down Under, down. He's a rain expert, but it didn't work out. He was probably pushing too hard after that bad start.
Look at Smith still with this lead, a fantastic lead, but look right behind him. Oliver's really making up some ground. He got by Kling, and he's smoking up towards Smith.
And Fritz Kling better not turn around. It's Peter Kissinger out of New York, right on his tail, and Steve Rodden still on his bike, brings up the tail section of that.
Oh, don't forget, interview, Rich Oliver said this was it. He was going to go get him today.
Oh, just as we talked. Peter Kissinger, he's out in turn 5 in the grass. He's taken a soil sample. I think that's all for him.
This is the day where it does not count to be brave. Those puddles are big. The raindrops are big. This is Hydroplane City.
When we're talking about hydroplaning, we're talking about the tire's ability to disperse moisture, to cut through the water that you can see standing on this front straightaway and get down to the tarmac. These tires will actually heat up and start working very well, but not through a puddle. A puddle just lets them skip, and if you're pointed straight, you'll be all right. If you're not, you're going to have a big problem.
There's one guy who's pointed straight, and that is Rich Oliver. He has got that 250 Yamaha right up the tailpipe of Mike Smith. He is moving on him. Looks like he's making about 2 seconds a lap already on Smith. Smith's going to have to pull out something from the bottom of his soul to stay out there.
Oh, Keith, there's another rider down. Well, these conditions are certainly taking their toll on the riders in this race. They're going to have to run quite a few laps, I would think, to get used to the track and the way it's sitting right now before they're going to be able to go at the speeds they want to go at. Is that right, Keith?
And that's the big problem with the track today. The rain is coming. Sometimes it's driving super hard. Now we take a look right now. The rain has let off for a little bit. It's actually raining harder and lighter in different sections of the track. The riders don't know what they're going to see the next time they come around a turn.
We'll be back for more Calgard Weir Formula USA action.
Of doing a turn up on the track so that you come out.
A career as an AMI certified motorcycle technician can start you earning the money to make your dreams come true. AMI in Daytona Beach, Florida will give you the hands-on training you need to get that lucrative job. Listen to what dealer Jim Walker of Jim Walker Honda Suzuki has to say.
Today's sophisticated motorcycles require well-trained technicians to service them. That's why my dealership looks to AMI for well-trained service personnel when the need arises.
Call this toll-free number now. With AMI, you've got a future.
There's an awful secret only cat lovers know. Yes, it's time to change that litter box. With Leo's luxury litter and disposable litter box, you never need to change a messy litter box again. Leo's litter box is leak-proof, and Leo's litter is more absorbent than regular litter. Water stays on top of ordinary litter, takes longer to absorb. Now see how Leo's luxury litter quickly absorbs water, stays fresher longer. Leo's luxury litter is made of all-natural biodegradable ingredients and costs only $9.95. Order now by calling 1-800-448-0464 and never change a litter box again. When the litter box needs cleaning, just replace it with a fresh one. Longer-lasting pellets control odor, eliminate dust and tracking, and break down into fresh grass-like material. Pamper your cat and yourself with Leo's longer-lasting luxury litter. Call toll-free 1-800-448-0464 and order Leo's luxury litter with disposable litter box. Only $9.95 plus $3.50 shipping and handling.
Fair dinkum, Mike Smith, you'd better take a look over the shoulder, buddy boy, because here comes Rich Oliver, and he's closing that gap so quickly on the little 250cc bike.
We've got action all the way through the top 10. Here's a race for 4th and 5th with Fenwick chasing Peterson around. But up front, it's Smith on his 1100 right there with Rich Oliver right on his doorstep.
And here we have the essence of Formula USA motorcycle road racing. A 375-pound machine up in front, 1,100 cc's, 160 horsepower, battling it out with a 225-pound machine with about 85 horsepower. It's incredible.
Here's where it's going to make all the difference. A front straightaway. Smith lives for this front straightaway. This is where he makes all his ground. See right there, getting up into 4th and 5th gear. Oliver just can't run with him. Kling is going to rely on that too. Here comes Peterson and Fenwick. Fenwick should be able to close up on Peterson down the front straight, but Peterson is going to use his brakes very well at the end of the straightaway.
Oh, there's been another fall.
Jeff Hagan, it's Jeff Hagan out. He's a Northern California racer, very fast motorcycle rider, and he's down and out in turn 11. Turn 11's biting a lot of folks.
Oh, boy, this is such an exciting race. And Rich Oliver almost went through on the inside of Mike Smith through that turn.
There's got to be something wrong with Mike Smith. He went out so hard on the first few laps, and now watch his lines, Keith. He's taking low lines. He's just not riding as well as he should be. And there goes Oliver right there over the crest and down into turn 5. Oliver on the brakes. He's in the lead.
Unfortunately, I think what's happening with Mike Smith is that straightaway is no longer going to work for him and his 1100cc machine. When he gets the power on, he goes through those puddles, that machine hydroplanes, it spins the wheel, and when it's spinning, Nick, as you well know, it's not going forward.
What are the chances of Smith holding on to Oliver, Keith?
Well, I don't know. Rich Oliver looks very confident. He's hardly slipping the bike around at all. He's on full rain tires. Really, really working very well in this rainy condition right now. In fact, he's on Michelin's, and Mike Smith is on that heavier machine. He's got his Dunlop rain tires on. Well, it's going to be a toss-up. I don't know what's going to happen. If Mike Smith can pull it out, if the rain stops, he can catch him again.
Believe it or not, excuse me, Michael, believe it or not, you can actually burn up your rain tires even in the rain, especially with such a heavy bike as Smith is on. He's probably on tires developed for 500cc GP machinery, and he may have even burned them up, even used them up by charging so hard in the first 2 laps. I don't think Oliver will ever use up his tires.
And here we are in the straightaway again. Look, Rich Oliver is actually pulling out distance on Mike Smith in that big 1100. I think the 250cc is the bike for the day.
Well, Rich Oliver, good on you, son. It's about time you got your act together in these races. And he has seen daylight. I don't know whether they're going to catch Rich Oliver.
I think there's a jinx on Yamaha winning Formula USA. They haven't done it yet, so we'll have to see if Oliver can hang on. This is a long Formula USA race, and as we've seen, anything can happen in the rain, and anything will happen in the rain.
Exactly, Nick, and look at Rich Oliver. He's so smooth out there. He's got that little Kenny Roberts Marlboro Yamaha going around the racetrack, barely slipping a wheel, as we mentioned before, and pulling away from Mike Smith at an amazing rate. This is really fantastic. Look, there, in that section of the track, the rain is really coming down hard. The section he just left was pretty dry, but Oliver's really got it under control. He's already into lap traffic here, just this early in the race.
True enough, Keith. These conditions are exactly suited to Rich Oliver's style of riding. The little 250cc bike, the way he rides, the way he throws it through these corners, he doesn't care about the rain.
Not only that, but he's one of the few riders in the United States who is getting these Michelin tires. These are very special Michelin tires that Kenny Roberts, through his influence on his Marlboro team over in Europe, is able to procure for Rich Oliver and his teammate Robbie Peterson. So he's got some sort of an advantage here. This is rubber the other guys cannot get.
We've heard a lot of talk about nitrous oxide injection on Robbie Peterson and Rich Oliver's motorcycles. They're not running it here at Grattan. They've experimented with it, but decided not to run it here in the rain.
Okay, well, Rich Oliver, 28 years old, out of Pittsburgh, California. Oh, there's been another fall. Andy Fenwick is off the bike.
I can't believe this. Andy Fenwick, he was the track record holder until this weekend. He's down on number 47 after running in the top 5. He's all through.
Certainly this fellow's not all through. Rich Oliver, he's powering away from them. He's flat out like a lizard drinking. I can't see them catching him at this stage. He's setting up such a good lead out in front. And here's Mike Smith, the battle for second. Mike Smith, Fritz Kling, and Robbie Peterson in there.
This isn't the Mike Smith I've seen ride. Something's got to be wrong with it. He must be using up his tires. Something's not quite right. And Kling and Peterson are charging very hard. Fritz Kling, number 421, back there on the Yosh bike. Right behind him, the 250 of Robbie Peterson. Smith has his hands full right now.
Yeah, he does have his hands full. But you know, Nick, as I pointed out earlier, Mike Smith has led more Formula USA motorcycle road races in the early stages of the event, but he's also backed off, and he's finished second and third quite a number of times. It may be that he's having problem with his tires. I know that you can burn up tires, as you pointed up earlier. These things you'd think wouldn't burn up at all in the wet, but they're very soft rubber, and they do.
Also, I think Smith might be thinking a little bit about his points lead. Although Oliver's ahead of him, he knows that Kling and Peterson are virtually out of the points hunt, and he might say, hey, it's time to go around a few laps and see what happens to Oliver.
There's no doubt about it. Mike Smith definitely has the endurance mentality. He knows how to finish races, be they 6, 8, 12, or 24-hour races, and he knows how to finish seasons, no matter how long they are.
We'll be back for more Calgard Weir Formula USA action.
Take a good look at your riding skills. Twist of the Wrist has been the world's best-selling manual. Now the video puts into action 107 minutes of straightforward information on 14 of the most areas of riding. Whether you're a street rider or a competitive rider, this video will help you get the winning edge.
Endurance road racing, the ultimate test for man and machine. The perennial champs, Team Suzuki. Their choice of motorcycle, the legendary GSXR. Sprint racers also choose the Legend. Just look at the 1989 National Superbike champion.
Bellevue Suzuki has extended the Suzuki Spring Break through summer. See the latest in sports racing equipment at Bellevue Suzuki. Proud sponsor of 3-time Northwest #1 racer Joe Pittman and home of ex-factory Superbike tuner Ken Funkhauser. The ride you've been waiting for. Bellevue Suzuki.
Believe it or not, my name is Thomasina Hug. And the very first time I played Quinto, I won the $100,000 top prize. But listen to this, I played again and won $2,864. The last time I played Quinto, I didn't win a thing. I wonder if I'm losing my touch.
Quinto, even if you don't win the big one, you can still win big.
And Fritz Kling currently sitting in third spot there behind Mike Smith, 22 years old, out of East Lansing in Michigan. He is a big man on that bike, 6'4" and over 200 pounds, and doesn't he look it? And he's having some fun out there today, I can tell you that, although Robbie Peterson, Rich Oliver's teammate, is really dogging him at the moment. As they come down into this straight now, Robbie Peterson is taking an inside line on these guys, trying to pick up another position, but Fritz Kling takes a look over and says, no way, buddy. And now Peterson takes him on the outside. Look at this. Peterson won't give up and takes Fritz Kling.
That's called on the brake. A 250 will outbrake an 1100 at almost every turn, especially with as good a rider as Robbie Peterson. Up the inside. Now Peterson's got his sight on Smith, and I think he's looking for Smith into turn 2. Has he got him? No, Smith closes the door, says, no, thank you, Mr. Peterson. I've got to hold the front here. I'm going to lead you down into turn 3. Smith doesn't give up easily. He's not going to bump or bang anybody because he knows the points are on the line, but at the same time, he's not going to let Peterson buy just any old place.
I think the writing's on the wall, Nick. I think you're absolutely right. Today, this is a 250cc GP bike racetrack, and Mike Smith knows Robbie Peterson.
Oh, there goes Peterson. Now, he's just taken Mike Smith in the exact same spot that his teammate, Rich Oliver, took him a couple of laps ago, and it looks like Fritz Kling has hooked out for a shot at Mike Smith now. Fritz Kling trying to take Mike Smith on the inside. Did he succeed? Let's have a look. Yes, Fritz Kling has taken Mike Smith. Oh, Mike Smith, what's wrong? What's happened out there?
This has got to be Mike Smith's worst nightmare. Get a great start, get a huge lead, and all of a sudden the locusts descend on you in the form of angry, hungry road racers, and they swarm all over you. The next thing you know, you're in 4th place.
Yeah, and take a look what one turn with one back marker did to that trio going for 2nd place right there. They were bunched together. They were 2 bike lengths apart. They went around that guy, and now they're 100 yards apart.
Keep in mind that a 250 bike, because it turns so quick and brakes so hard, it's going to get around the back markers a little better than the big ones, and I think Peterson's going to use that to his advantage. Right now, we've got Robbie Peterson 2nd behind Rich Oliver, TZ250s, leading a field of GSXR 1100s and SCR 1000s. It's a Formula 2 day today.
Here again, we see Jack the Giant Killer 250 Yamahas out there blowing the doors off those 1100cc machines. Also, the other wild card we have here at Grattan is sometimes it's raining hard and sometimes it's not. This could mean, just like it has earlier in the day in other races, could mean place changes for all these guys. You can see the sun is almost coming out in this section of the track where it's fairly drying up.
You've got to call the rain the great equalizer. Suddenly a 250 can go down the straightaway with an 1100 simply because an 1100 can't get all its power down to the ground. It's spinning its rear tire, it's scaring its rider. Meanwhile, a 250 is putting out a nice flow of power and pushing on.
Oh, Nick, take a look at this. Fritz Kling has just taken Robbie Peterson on the inside. Robbie Peterson has dropped back now into 3rd position. Fritz Kling in 2nd.
Oh, Kling is riding so hard. He's on that Yoshimura bike. He's a local from around here, and he is riding very hard. He went by Peterson on the brakes. Keith, could you imagine 1100 going by on the brakes in the rain?
Not going by a 250 in the rain, but here again we have the situation where that section of the track was a little bit drier. Fritz Kling obviously feels very confident. He's going through this section of the track down to the hairpin really quick.
As they come up on Ray Yoder, number 52, to lap him, let's talk a little bit about Fritz Kling. He's 200 pounds, 6'4". Normally that would be a handicap to a road racer, but I've got to think in the rain, it helps press your tires down through the film of water, and because he's so tall, he can put his knee on the ground and yet still have good control of his motorcycle. Keith, does this sound like sound thinking to you?
I don't know. It seems like 200-pounders have finished some of these Formula USA races right up front, just like Scott Gray does in the dry. But normally, you'd think a lighter rider on a lighter bike will go around the corners quicker, and that's the way it's always been. So I'm not so sure that's a sound theory, Nick. I just don't have anything to back it up.
I've got to say, Rich Oliver doesn't believe my theory at all. He's a very light man, probably under 150 pounds on a very light motorcycle, and he's gone. He's he's just disappeared. Maybe my theory about heavyweight has nothing to do with anything at this point.
Well, here's Robbie Peterson, and Robbie seems to be having some problems out there.
You know, out of the corner of my ear, I've been listening to Robbie's bike go by. It doesn't sound quite right, especially in the mid-range. It sounds okay up on top, but I think he's lost some kind of some power somewhere, and Kling is leaving him in the dust.
You're right, Nick. You know, it does sound like he's got a hole in the pipe or something like that. That 2-stroke is missing. It doesn't sound like a 4-stroke machine when it's missing, but he's definitely down on some power. It sounds like it's popping every once in a while.
He's not getting off the corners well. I've got to think maybe it's a water-related problem. Maybe he's had water sneak in his electrical box, maybe even under a spark plug lead. It sounds as if some water somewhere has gotten in there and messed up his drive, because he can't hold on to Kling like he was.
But look at Kling go over those sections. That's one of the fastest sections of this track. Not as fast as the straightaway, of course, but one of the fastest sections with a turn in it. And Fritz Kling is just smoking through that area again.
Well, Fritz Kling was the 1989 Michigan Grand Prix Series champion, and he's been working out at this track for, what, the last 8 years? Grooming himself, getting ready to start going nationwide.
He's ready to take on the national boys. Like he said in his interview, he was very confident for being such a young man. He just turned 23 years of age. For being so young, he is very confident, and he is sitting in second place right now, holding off Robbie Peterson, who is a Zimbabwean national champion and very good here in America.
Well, Rich Oliver doesn't have to worry about those guys. He's got quite a few seconds on them right now. He is the class of the field today. He's still looking beautiful. With the rain lessening, we can see right now that no new rain is falling on the track over in this section. Rich is leaning it over more. His speed through the corners is even greater. I don't think those guys have a chance to catch him, Nick.
Those of us that ride street bikes quite a bit just have to marvel at the fact you can put your knee on the ground in the wet. Keith, talk a little bit about what kind of traction they're getting out here.
Well, precious little, as you can see, when Mike Smith was out there riding around, but it looks like Rich Oliver has got a corner on the market for traction today out here at Grattan Speedway. I mean, he's making it through this bull turn. There's even a puddle that runs down through that bull turn that he just went through, and he didn't slip a wheel through there. I don't know what he's doing.
That was a great shot of the tires. Our cameraman doing a very good job. Here comes Oliver up on Stevie Patterson, our 600 Superstock winner, going by him. Great shot of Oliver's tires working on the bowl turn back then. Really neat. These rain tires, you would be down and out without them.
And there's another shot of Robbie Peterson, and from the sound of that bike, oh, the Mike Smith taking Robbie Peterson on the inside. Something must be wrong with that bike, Nick.
I'll tell you, it's nice to see Smith passing someone rather than being passed. He's
exactly
had a tough
right.
day, but Peterson's bike is definitely down. It doesn't sound well. I've heard a lot of good running TZs come out of Team Marlboro, but that's not one of them right now.
And now back to Rich Oliver, 28 years old, out of Pittsburgh, California. He's been racing for 12 years, and he handles this 250cc bike extremely well in these conditions, doesn't he?
Kenny Roberts is going to be very happy. I think Rich Oliver is going to be the apple of his eye today. Obviously, the Roberts Marlboro team in Europe is doing very well with his star rider, Wayne Rainey, but right now it's Rich Oliver on top of the Marlboro Yamaha, and he's doing a fantastic job out here. I can't say enough about the smoothness of his riding. It looks like a totally different rider than we've seen at the Formula USA events earlier this year.
Rich Oliver had a tough year last year. He dropped his bike a number of times in practice, in a few races. He put together a fairly good season, but he came out this year with a new plan. He's going to start slow, be smooth, put together a perfect race. When race time came, he was going to be at his peak, rather than trying to peak during practice and push himself too hard, and obviously it's working for him. Very smooth, very controlled, the fastest rider on this racetrack. He has not fallen all year, and if he keeps it going, he's not going to fall in this race. He's going to take that first place for the first time.
Well, I wonder, as we start to see this track drying out, I can't see any more new rain around. Will this affect the placings from here on in? But I doubt it, as we watch Fritz Kling thread the way through the needle past some back markers in a desperate and vain attempt to catch this man, Rich Oliver, as he makes his way down towards the checkered flag on the final lap of what has been a most exciting, sensational Formula USA race. In the true spirit of what this race is all about, the 250cc bike looks like it's going to go on and win this event. And here he comes, Rich Oliver, what must be a jubilant Rich Oliver, taking the checkered flag. Yes, gives a wave to the crowd. In second place, Fritz Kling, a great performance, Fritz. And in third place, Mike Smith.
Well, a couple times it really rained hard, and nobody could see anything, I'm sure. But it was pretty straightforward. I mean, I felt good about my ride. I rode as hard as I had to, and I tried to stay smooth, and the bike was just fantastic. It stuck to the track, and I could do no wrong.
You and Robbie went back and forth. What did you think was going to end up at that point?
I was waiting for him to do something on the last lap. I wasn't going to look behind me.
These boys here just put it on me.
They did. Did they turn up the wick, or did Mike Smith fall off the pace a little bit?
Well, they probably did a little bit of both.
Our Motorcyclist magazine Rider Spotlight goes to Rich Oliver for a most exciting and impressive Formula USA race win. Congratulations, Rich.